Welcome back to another video, my fellow developers. And in this video we are going to see what is object destructuring and array destructuring. This is the topic that is not understood by most newcomers, okay? Because you are new to this word destructuring, and you know what, this thing is very easy, that it's just like creating variables, nothing else, okay? So if you think that it's hard, not at all, okay? It's very easy. So what I have done here is I've just created an app.js. Maybe you can't see it, so let me zoom in. So app.js file, we don't need an HTML file because we are going to run our code in the terminal. So you can just go to terminal and new terminal, and let me just kill the first one. Okay, so your terminal or command prompt will be opened up, and what you need is Node.js installed. So Node.js is basically a JavaScript runtime that you can install the current version or the LTS version, whichever you like for your operating system. So that's Node.js that you can install, and we just need that to run our code, nothing else, okay? So let's begin. We are first gonna learn what is object destructuring and then array destructuring. So first of all, what I am going to do is I'm going to create a variable called person. So I'm going to say const person. You can also say var person or let person, as you like. So I'll say const person, and then I'm going to add some properties like name, that will be John, let's say, add a comma, and then I'm going to add an age property, let's say it's 20, okay? So this is our person object. Now what if I want to access the name property? What do we do normally is, for example, if I just want to console.log it person dot name, that's what we do, okay? We take the person object and then we add a dot and then the property name that we want to access. So for example, if I save it and if I say node app, so that's because of Node.js, so we get John, okay, because we are accessing this element. Now what if I want use it many time and I want it stored in a variable, so that I don't want to say person dot name again and again. So what you do is you can just say const name is equal to person dot name, okay? So that's what you do, and then instead of person dot name you can just say name, okay? Hit save, and then you will get the same output, okay? If you run node app again, you will get John again. But what if you also want the age, okay? And there are several more properties. What you do is you can just copy and paste it, and then you just replace this with age and this with age, and then you can just add a comma, or you do anything you want, and then you can get the name and the age. But this is not the best way of doing it, okay? This was done previously. Now in the modern JavaScript with the ES6 or ES 2015 syntax, you don't need to do this stuff. What you can do is you can just take them out, okay, comment them out. We are going to say const and then curly braces is equal to just person, okay? So we are pointing to the person object, and what this curly braces is going to do is inside of here we are just going to pass in the property names that we want. So for example, I want the name and then add a comma and then age from the person, okay? It is just like getting name and age from person, okay? So this is destructuring, this is object destructuring. You are destructuring the person object to get name and age. Nothing will affect the person, but you will get the variables named name and age, and as many as you have. So for example, I have the school name, for example, anything like that. And if I say something like, or okay, let's keep something else, like any random text. Now I want to access this, so what I can do is I can just put this name here, and now this is my variable that I can use anywhere in the program, in anywhere in the code. So if I save it and if we take a look, we get John 20 and this. So this saves you 3 lines of code, okay, but it can save you a lot of lines of code in the real world project. So that's the modern JavaScript and the structuring that you can use, and that is object destructuring. Now let's take a look at array destructuring. This is similar to it but a bit different. So for example, if we have an array, let's say const, and then I say languages is equal to an array. Okay, so we are gonna create we are gonna pass in some languages, some programming languages here. So for example, let's say C, C++, C sharp. I guess you hate these languages, but you know what, they are very useful. JavaScript that we are using here, then Python, and finally let's add Java. So some languages like that. So how it formats it, if you want it formatted, let me just see the prettier extension. This this extension right here can help you format it, and I have showed you how to set it up in the in my VS Code video, so I'm going to link that in the cards. So you have these languages here. Now what if I want to access this C, okay, and if I want to console.log it? So what we do is console.log, we get languages, and then we say index 0. If I save it, let's keep it. Okay, yeah, this is going to give us an error because you know what, that's undefined. And one more thing, if you are confused, you don't have to put these spaces here. It's just to differentiate this this curly brace and this, it looks nicer. Okay, so if I now run node app, what you will see is John 20. This is basically the first console.log here, and now you get languages index 0, that is C. If I want to access C++, what I do is I say 1. I hope you know the array methods. I mean this getting this index from an array. Now we get C++. But what if I want to use it many times? Okay, I don't want to pass in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything here. I can store it in variables. So the normal way of doing it is console const C is equal to languages index 0, and then I can just copy and paste this. You can just say Alt Shift down on Windows, so that should do it. If I say cpp, and that is index 1, so I mean these will be the languages, and that's a lot of lines of code. Okay, you can just create simple variables, you don't need this array then. So how can you get items from the array? Well, you can just say const and then square brackets, and then in the end just say languages. Now how do you pass in something here? What should you pass in here? We pass in the property name, okay, and then that creates a variable. But here we don't have any property name, we just have the value. How can I access that? Well, you can just enter the name that you want, okay, the name of the variable that you want. So for example, I want C, I want CPP, I want CS, I want JS. So let's pick up these ones first. So this C will pick up the first one, CPP is going to pick up the second one, CS is going to pick up the third one, and JS is going to pick up the fourth one. And if you add more and more things, it will pick up the Python and Java. Okay, now I can just enter any random text here, and that's going to pick up the second one only, because what array destructuring is that whatever you pass in here, it's going to pick up the with the order, okay, first, second, third, fourth. So for example, if I just console.log all of these, so let me just copy these and then paste these here, save, and let's take a look. we get C, C++, C Sharp, JavaScript here. Okay, so that's array destructuring. Now let's add some more languages and let's make it CPP so that we can understand its and PY and Java. So these languages are coming, these values are coming from languages array. So that's array destructuring. Now what if I just want CS? How can I get access to only CS? Wait, let me just console.log first of all of these items. So let me just copy this and paste this, save, and you see we get all of the languages, right? But what if I just want the CS? Okay, I'm not going to use C, I'm not going to use CPP in the whole program. Now instead of creating a separate variable for this and then taking out all things, what you can do is you can just get rid of these. Okay, first thing, if you get rid of these, CS will be assigned to C, but we don't want that. So what you can do is you can just add a comma for each remaining item. So this comma is for C and this comma is for C++. So these commas, okay, you're not creating variables, you're just adding commas so that you can get access to CS. And now if I just console.log CS, hit save, what you'll see is we get C Sharp. Okay, I don't need the JS, Py and Java also, so I can just get rid of them because they are ahead. Okay, we don't need them and they are ahead, and you can see I get C Sharp. So that's the magic of the destructuring. And it's not important that in the object destructuring you need the order. Okay, you can just say name comma age also, and that's also gonna work. And if I run this, you can see John 20. Okay, so it just takes the property name and then assigns that. Okay, so that's array destructuring and object destructuring. Now the question arises, if I have an array inside of this object, so let's say friends, this is an array. Let me just comment this out, toggle block comment. So for example, I have this friends array. Okay, let's add some names here. So for example, I can say Wilson, let's add Mark, let's add Titus. Okay, so these are the names of friends of John. So for example, how can I access this Wilson, for example? How can I access that? Well, I can add a comma, I can say friends, but that will pick up the array. Okay, we don't want the array. Okay, let me just make it friends, save that, and let's take a look. We get the whole array, but we don't want the array, we just want Wilson. How can we get Wilson? Well, you can add a colon and then you can add arrays and then whatever you want. So friend 1. Okay, so what that will do is, now friends is undefined. So for example, if I save it, if I run that, it will give us an error because friends is not defined. Friends will be undefined, and now friend 1 will be the one which will be defined. So if I say friend 1, save, and let's take a look, node app, you get Wilson. Wow, how this happened? Okay, it picked up the friends array, and inside of this object you can destructure the array as well. So you can add more and more things like friend 2 and then friend 3, and if you just want the friend 3, you can just add commas. Okay, so comma for the first one, comma for the second one, and then F3. If I save it, and friend 1 is undefined, so let me just rename it to F3, and now you'll see we get Titus. So that's the power of ES6 array destructuring and object destructuring. I hope you have learned it perfectly, and if you have learned it perfectly, I have a nice assignment or task for you. What you can do is you can just go to this link. I will leave this link in the description below, and if you want to read it out again. So I have this assignment that will not only improve your destructuring skills but also your JavaScript skills. So what I have said here is create an array of objects like this. Okay, so an array of objects, and each object should contain the data of a browser. Now I have given the dummy data here. You can feel free to pick up some data from here. I can just right click and open this in a new tab. So each object should contain the data of a browser. Store the company name and market share variables for any random item in the array every 2 seconds. Now what this means, well, the company name and market share variables for any random item right here. Okay, so basically we want any random item here from here, and then we want to store the company name market share variables with the help of destructuring. Okay, and for any random item. Okay, so then we want to console.log the company developed the company variable developed, name of the browser variable, then market share of the market share to the console. Now I have given some hints here. You can just feel free to read them. So to get a random number and to repeat the code, I mean this should be set interval. Okay, I'll fix that. And this is the link. I'll give this in the description below. This is a gist, and you can take a look at the market share of the browsers. Okay, it might change over time. If you have any doubts, if you have any suggestions, leave in the comments below. And if you want more videos like this one, so explaining something about JavaScript, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And finally guys, thanks for watching.